Welcome, my name is Ken Adams, and this is a breakdown of my full experience at NFT.NYC 2023. I'm a Cardano Native Community Member, so this video is for you as a Cardano Community Member who may not have made it out to NFT.NYC, or for you who want to know what the perspective of a Cardano Native person had in New York. Little pro tip, this whole video is cut up into chapters, so just skip ahead, go down to the bottom and hit like and subscribe while you're there, and we'll find you're in the right place. First things first, I'm from Ohio. I'm about 600 miles away from New York City, and as a person from the States, I know we don't frequently use the train system. Got on the Amtrack train. It took 15 hours to get there. At Penn Station, just a few blocks away from the venue, had the opportunity to sleep and eat and drink and work, and probably not in that order, but for 15 hours of check in and check out, it was a wonderful experience. For $250 round trip, my parking at the airport probably would have cost that. I did arrive at Penn Station, and I had enough time to catch a really good restaurant, go check in at my hotel, and then go to Times Square. A majority of the billboards in Times Square were lit up with all of the NFT.NYC speakers, presenters, featured art. All of their art was on that. And while that was a cool experience in itself, what really struck me hardest was being in Times Square with hundreds and hundreds of artists whose work was getting featured on those billboards. To see the artists engage with their art and the community, to have people in the crowd cheering on each other as their art shows up, and to meet and interact with these artists, it was such a special opportunity. I actually ran into Chatty Nasir and Fettuccine, and we took a little walk down the street, went to a bar, had some dinner, and I think you can see that I might have had enough drinks that I was seeing double by the end of the night. So before I get into talking about the NFT.NYC show itself, let's discuss the lexicon. There's whether it's semantics or just new words and new terminology, if you're not up to speed on this, you have to take time to catch up and learn. So yes, there were words like metaverse and DAO, DeFi, utility, all those real catchphrases. And a lot of that seems to be fading like a pair of stonewashed jeans. It's there. The people who are doing it right, they're doing it right. The focus now has moved into some new terminology. So one example is a digital twin. Just the term digital twin allows people to understand that there's more to it than meets the eye. It's a connection between an NFT and a physical item. So a digital twin, or saying digital twin, doesn't identify that it's a QR code, it's an RFID chip, it's matching serial numbers in the metadata and on the print itself. It's just saying that this NFT is a digital twin, or this pair of sneakers has a digital twin. So it just lets you know that there's more to it. Dynamic NFT. Now, I know you've heard this already, and we're still trying to wrap our head around it, and I will tell you, I'm still trying to accept that. So technically a dynamic NFT means it's an NFT that changes. But really, technically, dynamic means change, and the NF in NFT is non-fungible, which means it doesn't change. So this is some kind of oxymoronic thing that I need to get through my head to understand how you can have a changing, non-changing thing, and we call it good. So I think the most important part is if somebody's saying a dynamic NFT, it means the metadata may change. You may be able to add to it with your gaming experience. The artwork itself may change depending on the inputs that you put into it. I don't know. I'll get there someday. All right, POAP. P-O-A-P. POAP. That's Proof of Attendance Protocol. Fam, this is legit. I had my first experience with a POAP after one of the speakers at stage just said, "Hey, after the show, meet me outside and I'll get you a POAP." And I'm thinking, well, shoot, if it's free, it's for me. So I got out of the venue, and sorry to the next speaker, I didn't watch you, but I did go outside in the hall, and I did meet up with the speaker. And that engagement is now much more long lasting. It isn't, here's my business card, take a picture of my socials, hook up. It is proof of attendance protocols. It allows the audience member or the student or whomever and the lecturer or the provider of that lecture to have a connection that goes on as long as you have that asset. I have no expectations of what may happen in the future, except to know that I have a connection with the person who gave the speech that I wanted to know more about. Digital ownership. This is a term that I heard, especially in the gaming. A gamer who levels up, they get their skins, they get their firearms, they get their whatever it is, but they don't have control of it because it's within that game platform. So we talk about digital ownership. Now, what I will say is that a lot of the speakers who talked about this did a very good job of not even saying NFT, not even in the speech at an NFT conference. They just said, we do digital ownership. Using the term digital ownership kind of precedes the next term I'm going to cover. Now, that's digital collectibles. This isn't a new product or a new theme. This is a new way of saying NFTs. We say non-fungible tokens. It's wordy. You have to educate whoever you're talking about when you're saying a non-fungible token. But to use the phrase digital collectible, that means that you have an item. It just expresses that skin that was in the game, or that certain item that you have, it is now a digital collectible. Not to say that the word or term NFT is dead or should be dead. That's more on the technical side. If you are a non-fungible token podcaster, if you're NFT space like NFT.NYC, if you are going to NFT.Con out in Las Vegas, those platforms still need to maintain that NFT proficiency. But for mass adoption and when we move forward, we're talking about digital collectibles. And now when we're ready for fans to show up, they're going to be trading digital collectibles. But those of us in the game right now, we're still going to be talking NFTs. So we're not omitting NFT usage, we're just making it more accurately stated. All right, the last one I'm going to cover right now is no code. You heard no code quite a bit, and I finally clicked in my head what no code means in our industry and what we have. If you were to go back 20 years or so and you wanted a website for your company, you had to know coding, or you had to hire somebody who knew coding. For the creator economy that is within the NFT space, everyone that's trying to learn as much as we can right now and break out into the world, taking the time to learn all the coding to apply it to not just one blockchain, but to all the blockchains. There are actually no-code platforms that allow you to mint your assets, that allow you to integrate your website to Web3 technology. But no code is a term that you got to get ready and put that in your lexicon. Okay, now that we've covered some of the semantics and understand some of the new terminology, I'm going to outline our next chapters. So first we're going to talk about my walkthrough in the vendor floor. Then we're going to talk about our notes and comments that I had at the presentations I was at. Some shout outs to all the networking opportunities that we had, from people that I do know to people that I just met. I'm going to give you my take on the after parties that I attended. There were way more than I could even possibly go to, and I'll share with you the experiences I had there. I'll talk to you about what the other chains are that I experienced at the show. Like I said, I'm a Cardano person, but I need to learn more and understand what is out there. So I did reach out and talk to every other chain that I could find. And finally, I'm going to leave you with some incomplete thoughts. It's Wednesday the following week, and I'm still spinning with different ideas. This video helps serve the purpose of laying out my own thoughts, but it also helps to share with you my experience. Speaking of my experience, this video is my experience, my opinion of the last week. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not endorsed by anybody I talk to here or talk about here, show in the background or do whatever. I'm just a guy that experienced this event. This is when you need to do your own research. I am not the research. This video doesn't count as research for you to make financial or emotional decisions in your life. Be your own coach. All right, let's get into the exhibition floor for the vendors. Now, most of the pictures that you're going to see flashing in front of you are just with my cell phone, just with the slideshow. Maybe somebody that in the future is getting paid to do something like this, or funded in practice, and I had no intention of making this video. So here it is. This is the best I've got with what I have, and I hope that somebody else makes something better next time around. So the first one that caught my attention was Grab It. That is an auction-based marketplace coming to Cardano soon. It's on testnet right now. Happen to see them being posted up as a Cardano project, and so yeah, that caught my attention. Right now they're waiting for an audit to complete before they move forward. And like I said, this is the Dior part of it. I didn't ask what's the audit. I actually don't even know who would audit Cardano code, or if that's the audit they're waiting for to ensure that the smart contracts are good. That's definitely something I need to learn more about. If somebody states or claims, hey, we're going through an audit, I don't know what that audit means, and I fortunately did not ask either. There's a good, strong community up front. There's a product. They kind of demoed the minting experience. They're taking really good notes. We had some great conversations. Actually, they're on a live stream. I threw the laptop in front of them when I was live with CNFT News. I'll put the description link in the bottom below so you can check that out. Corner market. So this company is providing a service where if you're using their app and you land in a city, US right now, US based, you open up the app and you can find all of the crypto accepting businesses within that area. Businesses that they've contracted with are using USDC, they're receiving USDC. And currently the platform is set so that you spend USDC at that site. They did tell me that within the next week or two, there's going to be a DEX that they're going to launch so that if I want to spend ADA at this business, they're still going to receive USDC. My ADA is going to go to the DEX exchanges and I get my cup of coffee. If you happen to be in a region where corner market doesn't exist yet, they're bringing people on to help onboard for them. So if you know a coffee shop or if you know a place that's accepting crypto, willing to accept crypto, wanting to accept crypto, whatever that is, this is your chance to onboard them. And you'll actually earn 1% of that USDC from every sale from everybody you onboard. So it's a pretty good incentive model. Again, I need to look further into this. I just wanted to put it in front of you so that you understand that that does exist, and that's all chains. Nouns is an Ethereum-based project, and they have a multi-million-dollar treasury that exists that's available for anybody with wild, crazy, fun, and lucrative ideas. We were actually interviewed by a TikToker who was funded by the Noun Squared treasury. We also found a site where all 3D printed fashion wear. That project was founded by Noun Squared. Great opportunity. It is to me to look at that as a first-time exposure and see a brand that's built on a chain and that community has built a treasury, and they're sending that treasury money out to people who are willing to continue and grow the brand. So that was impressive to me. I really like seeing that. There were a number of marketplaces. WebMint is one. So I kind of walked into it with that scenario of I do art, I do paintings, I have a Web3 website. I still haven't even integrated Web2. We'll cover that in a minute. But if I wanted to mint something of mine on another chain like Polygon or ETH, I could use WebMint as a service. No code, some small code. I'd have to look into it further. But these are the companies. These are the people that you can go to if you say, well, I want to mint on ETH. It's not so much that I might want to mint on ETH, but if you are a business, if you are somebody selling something, you need to align with your customers or your fans or your future fans. If somebody comes to my website because they like my art and the only thing I sell it in is ADA, I lost the sale. I lost the opportunity to grow my community. So if I have another button that says mint with Ethereum, mint with Poly, mint with Algo, whatever it is, that allows more people to join my community. Now I know that I'm a small person, but I'm hoping somebody that's bigger recognizes the utility of having multiple chain access for anybody that wants to get into their community. That's why services like WebMint could do what it is, but that's the only one I know of right now. So I need to do my research and find out who can do the no-code thing for me best on each chain. So speaking of other chains and what their representation was like, there was a group of people, I want to say 7 or 8 people that had red shirts on with the Tron logo and it said Tron across the belly. I went and approached them and we actually found out those are employees of Tron who were at NFT.NYC because they recognized the impact of communication with the people that are using the products on their blockchain. So the developers, the marketers, everybody in that space, they didn't have a booth. They chose to mingle and interact with people. They said they had some really good interaction with other Tron users. They do have minting services. They have marketplaces. They have all the same things. It's just a matter of discovering what direction you want to go with it. But I really enjoyed seeing Tron do what they did out there. I thought that was a very smart way to make it happen. Now, Tezos is another blockchain. I didn't see them represented like by brand or by logo. What I did see was the art community within Tezos applauding Tezos to every extent, talking about their experiences using Tezos, their experience with the community and that artist networking. So definitely triggered me to look into that further as an artist and knowing artists to say, okay, what does Tezos have to offer? Tezos wasn't represented, so I couldn't go to a Tezos booth and talk to them about what they do or how they do it, which, hey, we're built by community, so you got my attention to the Tezos community. Now I need to reach out to Tezos as a whole. So AtomicHub.io had a booth, and I kind of passed by that. It was right at the front entrance. I even ate lunch by it, but I failed to stop and talk to them until Friday evening. But they told me a lot about Wax, and Wax is one of those EOS chains. 350 million NFTs have already been minted on Wax. And okay, I haven't fact checked, I haven't double checked, I haven't looked into all this yet, but if you go to a booth, you're going to get the same level of experience, then you have to go take it back. But I'm told, and I took a picture of a screen that said 350 million plus NFTs, 20,000 NFT of transaction action per day. And I said, okay, so what am I missing here, or what am I not seeing? Because we were seeing a lot of game cards moving by. He said, we actually have one major game that's set up on Wax, and 30% of that market share is from this game. I said, 30%, that's huge. You see, yeah, we have 250,000 active users on that game, and they mint digital collectibles, which happen to be NFTs. So they're doing exactly what a lot of the panelists were talking about. Now, Algorand wins Best of Show for blockchain representation. And here's why I say that. In less than 5 minutes, I went from what the F is Algorand to holding an NFT that I minted with my new wallet. Yeah, in 5 minutes, mobily. How did that happen? With one QR code, I scanned in and I was introduced to the Para wallet, which is a very common and popular wallet for Algorand. Uploaded the wallet app on my phone, scanned the other side, and that was a recovery seed phrase for a wallet that was already set. They had funds in the wallet. They didn't put the NFT that I am now holding in the wallet, they put funds in the wallet. So because I now was given enough funds to mint an asset, I went to R ampersand, so Rand is the minting service, is a popular minting service on Algorand. And the dev for Para Wallet was there, the dev for Rand was there, and had long engaging conversations to help understand what was going on and why we were doing what we were doing. So as soon as I had my wallet, I had a wallet recovered with some algo in it. I went to the minting service, I hit the shuffle button, and one NFT came up. Now that isn't just any NFT. The Algorand community voted for an artist to represent them at NFT.NYC, and they made a specific collection so that people like me now have a popular artist that is voted by the community, minted on the popular minting service from the community, on the wallet that the community voted for, and all of this was funded by Algorand Foundation. They even stocked up all the swag, and we have cool pins and socks and other cool stuff from Algorand. That engagement only took me about 5 minutes. I spent more time there because I was more intrigued and wanting to talk, but like I say, that onboarding experience is unforgettable, and by far Algorand won me over for that. There's a lot more to learn with different blockchains and understand what blockchains mean and can do, what implications they have, what audiences are in different places. So just getting your feet wet and meeting people, shaking hands, talking to, and understanding that you can look at all the different chains and expand to those chains. Now, as far as projects that were present, I talked about nouns already. Immutable was another major one. They had giant screens. It's a gaming community, like putting patches on sweatshirts. They had a game console to play, huge chill area for people to hang out and talk. They had a number of employees or volunteers, I didn't even ask, but there were a number of people representing the brand of Immutable. You may have even seen the 50 to 80 foot posters all around the conference center. So they went all out to express what was going on. City of Nile, that project, and I'll be perfectly honest, I don't even know what chain they were on, but I do know that I experienced something by going to that booth. They were up on the speakers venue floor, walking by. It happened to be like 4 o'clock. Well, it's 3:59. They were doing a giveaway at 4 o'clock. And if you're a marketer, take notes. They had a QR code that took you to a website, and the MC out there had the mic on, and he's talking about, listen, just go to this site. We're going to ask super easy questions based on what you find on this website. You don't need to look any further than that. And on that site, they had the rarity charts. They had the images. They had their best art. They had the lore of their story and what was going on. So you had to, like, there's 50 of us sitting around this spot, hoping to spin a wheel and get some chocolate or get AirPods. I think they were giving away even. So we're immersed. We're trying to learn as much as we can about the project as fast as we can. And when we did that, they're talking about, okay, here's how you get it. Here's how you win. If you answer the question, you're gonna raise your hand and you're gonna yell Nile. What are we gonna do? And everyone's like Nile. And we're like, wow, this is like, it was good energy. It was amazing. We were all like, yeah. So we all degened in, and here we go. I actually answered one of the questions right. Got to go up and spin the wheel, and everyone's cheering us on. And I got a bag of chocolates, and I got some extra stickers and pins, and just some really fun stuff. But that's the point. That's the fun. What conference have you ever been to where a product is promoting themselves and having a fun time doing that? So if you took the time to engage with the city of Nile, you'll recognize that they did that right. Now, I have no idea if this game works. I have no idea if they're doing things that I wouldn't agree with, but that's where your final research is. They got me. Cross the threshold. I know enough that I know the brand, I know the images, and now I get to go find out how much further I want to go with it. But my hat tip to everyone from City of Nile, Immutable, Nouns for representing your projects very well in this space. And finally, regarding vendors, the NFT.NYC sticker blocks. You might have seen a video of somebody switching letters around for you, Newark. I know who that was. But this was a huge community engagement tool. We all recognize we're in a PFP culture. We are in a brand culture where we recognize brand identity through that images. Check out some of this video that I'm sharing right now, and you'll see where those logos are. You'll recognize some right away. You'll be triggered by some of them to look closer and look deeper. And a lot of people use QR codes, so when you scan it, you'll take you to the most important piece of their company or their brand. These blocks, they turned out to be a work of art in themselves, and it was completely beautiful. There was one place where a lot of people were networking, they were hanging out, they were looking at, because we know that people walking around have a pocket full of stickers, but they don't have a booth. And they hope to engage with somebody who wants to know more about them. And they'll hand them the sticker, and that's kind of that engagement. This is where the PO app is a level up, because now that's a digital connection that is in their wallet. It isn't just going to your history on your browser if you remember to do that after a long night. And I did end up with a lot of really cool swag after going through the vendor floors. I got sweatshirt, hats, lots of stickers, and it was a good time. I really enjoyed the vendor floor and what NFT.NYC provided for us to go explore and learn in a very safe environment. Okay, the core of NFT.NYC for me was to go and attend as many of the presentations as possible. There were 1,400 speakers. Now there might have been 800 sessions, maybe less. I didn't get the exact number on that because there were a number of those speakers on panels together. But they had it broken down into 10-minute panels and 25-minute panels. The 10 minutes were typically company-based, person-based. They would share their experience, tell their story, and the different rooms were based on legal, art, community, brand, the future, and then there's a couple other panel rooms, the main stage, some workshops, different places you can go. So you can take your track and just went and learn as many different things and networked with as many people as possible. But these sessions were super important to go sit down and engage with people who are trying to share their name. So I have a couple of comments or thoughts to this first, and then some notes on specifics. In my opinion, the 25-minute sessions with a speaker that was engaging and their panel was more informative than the 10-minute panel, except for one. There was one really, really good 10-minute. So what I found was that a lot of the 10-minute sessions that I attended spent a lot of time talking about me, the individual who's on stage, sharing their experience. It was less how to do and more, this is my experience doing that. So I didn't get a lot from some of those where people spent a majority of their time talking about their adventure and their take. The 25-minute sessions where you had a speaker that was the host of that group and kept it moving was really good for me, especially the ones that asked one question of the entire panel. I'm going to ask this one question, what's your thought? What's your thought? And they moved down the line. That allowed me to get multiple perspectives on one topic. Okay, one little bit of critique, if you will. If you're on a panel and you're the one that's talking all the time, it's not so much that you have everyone in enlightened rapture. It's because they're waiting politely for you to hand the mic to the next person or let them speak. Read the room when you're in that space. I do this notoriously bad, but it's something that I've worked on and improved, and because of that, that's why I feel like I can recognize when I see other people doing what I fail to do myself. But it detracts from the entire experience in that time. Proper etiquette is make your statement in 1 or 2 sentences and offer the mic to the next person and become a listener. So some titles are misleading, and I know that we have a new lexicon that we're working on. We have multiple chains and everyone has their own language and we're coming together. But there were some times where my logic told me that a certain session would be about how to do something, and I wanted to learn how to do that. And the title misled me to sit down in a room where I learned about how that person felt while they were doing the thing. Again, those were the sessions where people just talked about their experience and themselves, more so than expanding the utility and use and expertise and leveling people up on their skills. That might have just been my expectation. So that, again, that's my experience. Another point of view is that having the NFT.NYC speaker behind your name from now on is an important thing, and I think that's very important. You traveled to New York, you've earned your spot on the stage, but I'm very curious how many people from the NFT.NYC panel sought out the speakers, or did a number of people self-motivate themselves and self-promote themselves to get on the stage to get that title or to share their point of view. I don't know the answer to that. I will say that I didn't fanboy over anybody on that 1,400 speaker list. There's some people that I knew going in and I went and supported them at their lecture, but there wasn't somebody that is like omnipresent, like holy crap, everyone needs to stop what they're doing and go check this out. I'm new, and that's probably my fault. I didn't recognize until after the fact that when I met bad crypto podcasters, that who they were. I wasn't following them before. I'm following them now though, because they seem to have a good point of view. And actually one of their missions regarding bringing their children and other children into our ecosystem from day one, so that that generational thought, that 100-year plan, not my plan, is way more important and engaging to me. So I've earned a lot of respect. They've earned respect for me on that front. But it was nice to meet them and see their engagement in their community. It's a mystery to be solved. I don't have an answer to that. But I went in blind, and I went just by the titles and the schedule. Now there is one point though that I will absolutely complain about. The Javits Center, beautiful venue. Every room has numbers on it, but the app that we were using to learn who was where and when, but we always have to have the fallback. Batteries die. People from different jurisdictions in the world show up and they don't have the right SIM card and they can't use the app, and now they're asking all the time, where is this next thing? One solution would be to just label the doors, not with numbers, but to put the label on the door that says this is the art room, this is the community room. Another solution would be to put those numbers in the app so that those who are on the app know what room number they're going to. Even better would have been to put the itinerary for each room posted outside of that room on each day. That would have engaged a lot more people that were lingering in the hallways, not wanting to interrupt, who think they're at the right room, and they peek in, they interrupt the speaker, the flow of what's going on in there. If I were to be able to walk up to a room and I know I have 20 minutes until my next show and I'm in this area, it's a lot harder to go to the app, find the link, it's a pain in the butt. If I just looked at the door and said, oh, this person's speaking right now about a topic that I'm interested in, or maybe I'm not interested and I want to know about it because I have time, I'm going to go in and sit down, and now I know who I'm listening to, what the topic is. That's a pretty big deal for me. Felt like I was lost, and I want to say thank you to all the volunteers, but especially the one volunteer who had this like super secret, cryptic, handwritten, photographed sheet that showed us what number the room was. I don't know why that wasn't public, but once I got a hold of that and I was able to share it with a few people, our experience increased dramatically. So a few notes on specific speeches that I went to. One I already mentioned was Bad Crypto Podcasters. Met them, fantastic. The very opening speech on Wednesday morning, I'm a dork like this, I did count, there was about 450 seats going into it, and about halfway through the show, they were full. And you had standing room behind that only. So you're saying easily 500 people showed up to watch the opening speech. After that, you probably had 20 to 30 people per lecture, sometimes more, sometimes less. But you also had multiple lectures going on and the vendor floor in New York City. So people had a lot of choices and places to go. Big shout out to Easy Stevie E. He posted the panel, the lessons learned having helped creators launch 400 plus NFT projects. After reviewing this and doing this, I think I said it was in my top 5. This is my favorite panel, or this was my favorite panel by far. One, because he hit all the highlights. He didn't talk about himself. I want to know more about him now. And he shared his experience and he shared the details. And when I started looking him up on the socials to try and track down his slide deck, I found out he was already offering that. He just said, hey, I've had a couple of people ask about this already. Here it is. So, you know, huge applause for doing it right on stage and off stage. So bravo to you. I've enjoyed that one a lot. How to bring your physical artwork into the digital world through NFTs. Shout out to Elena Wilcox. She's the one that gave me my first experience with the Poe app after the show, and it was a great panel as well. So I missed the name of the panel in the gaming stage because I was stopping to eat lunch. His statement, creating a community based on incentives is hollow. The difference between a community looking for the next free thing versus a community looking for community engagement. What's the next engaging thing? What's the next level? What's the next release? To have a company with consumables, you're looking for an item to give to somebody so that they can have the experience. So that's fairly easy on the gaming side, maybe even in the retail clothing side, because here's your shirt. At some point, that shirt, whether it has a digital twin or not, is going to wear out and it's not going to exist anymore. Recognize what your product is, and if that product itself is the incentive for being here, or is the experience the incentive? For the current era, having incentivized based communities is not the worst thing. But if your company is modeled and ready for experience-based community, that is a huge thing that you need to think about when you're evaluating as an investor, when you're evaluating as a player or a player investor, if you're in it to P2E. Or if you're building a company, if you are the founder of a company and you're not looking into the future for mass experience, consider it. Look at that. So networking, this is so powerful at this event, especially being somebody that knows Cardano and knows that there are other chains out there. That was awesome, just to be in the same place at the same time with them again. It was very similar to the experience that I had at CNFT.Con out in Vegas last year. Some of the takeaways from the overall networking experience had to do with just being in New York City, seeing somebody with their NYC NFT badge on the street, and you could talk to them. So it was a lot of fun to catch up with people. Webcasting was like off the charts. I can't tell you how many people I photobombed, whether they were in videos or pictures, and that was okay because we're all part of the community, and it doesn't matter who's in the background, who's in the foreground, where things are at. But you had podcasters, you had webcasters, you had streamers, you had videographers with phones, you had videographers with $10,000 pieces of equipment. It was really, really cool to see that much engagement and know that people are doing what I'm doing right now and sharing with their communities that experience. The artist venue was a really neat place to hang out with the actual artists, or at least to see their work. There was a sand floor drawing guy doing his work. There was a musician stage. Happened to go in there quite a few times where musicians are just belting it out and having a lot of fun. The artists were showing off their art on the frames. You know, they may not have booths downstairs, but they had their art featured, in Times Square, but it's also in the venue. So there was a good place for all of the artists to just relax and hang out and show what they were doing. Huge shout out to the Cardano contingent. We were able to meet people randomly at the event, but especially on Wednesday night when we caught up at the Q, hosted by Jeff and company. I think there was like 4 Cardano ambassadors there, but we saw like Chatty, Josh Miller, Ugly Bros, Hosky Token was there, Plutus Art, Cardano Over Coffee team, Mallard Order was there, Old Money NFTs were there, the Fairies. Finley, Claymates, Aeonium Sky, Angel Baby Hit Squad was there, Demon Hit Squad, you had Gravit NFT, Caricatures NFT, Chill Kongs were there, and there were more. I just didn't catch everybody. There's a few people that I even connected with that I didn't know before. Travis.eth, there's a podcaster, a father. He's an onboarding artist and helping to teach people a lot about blockchain and what it means. Jay Thorne, who is an author, who's a musician, and he's in the blockchain space and as a writer. I think he spent a lot of time going to the after parties that had to do in that music train. Met a guy named Powell who is running a hedge fund, and he's looking for some connections with the Cardano community so that he can tie us into that as well. Look, I met a ton of people, and that's what you do at a big conference like this. You run into a network, and there was a lot of times that we're scanning QR codes of each other, or writing it on our Bird app names and their handles, trying to connect. Even some people had RFID chips that had their link tree tagged right to it. So that was a really smart way to quickly engage with somebody and keep that long engagement in place. Okay, so for those of you who are interested in what the after party scene was in NFT.NYC, it was a blast. Everywhere I went to, I had a lot of fun, and I understand that there were even bigger parties and, you know, wait lists, and it was fun. It was like there were so many opportunities to go places. Like I said, Tuesday I went down to Times Square to look at the art and meet up with some people, have dinner. On Wednesday evening was the Cardano New York City meetup at the Q. It was just fantastic to meet people, talk to people. We had hours that we spent there getting to know people and who they are and what they do and why they do it. We even broke away for a few minutes, went to a back room, went on a live stream with the Freedom 35ers. I'm not sure what was going on with my voice there. It didn't sound like I was speaking clearly. Oh yeah, that's the alcohol. But if you want to check it out, the link is below. That'll be in the description. We had a blast. That was a lot of fun. So Thursday, during the show, I actually got on live stream with the CNFT news team. Now, again, I wasn't coming here prepared to do everything, but I did have my laptop and I had my headphones, so we made it work. We went live on a hotspot, and I was able to walk around and tour the area live on camera. We just had a blast. And a huge shout out to everyone who got on camera to say hello, and thank you to Trevor, Alyssa, Tyler, and even Will Fomo had his picture in the background for bringing us on and being patient. Thank you to Veggiemates for allowing me to break in and that weird scheduling thing. But we got it set up, and it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. After the show, I was getting hungry, and I was called upon by the president of UNorc, Richard Trixon. Now, I can't show you pictures of his face because he may still be wanted by Cheddar Gainsler. We'll see. I just want you to know that having the opportunity to have dinner with the founder of one of your favorite projects, an artist beyond measure, that was a wonderful experience, and I appreciated being able to do that. Then came Topia, and that was a blast. According to Travis, there was about 10% Cardano people that were there. For the most part, people that were there were not from the Cardano platform. They had networked with a number of other people throughout the space and brought everyone up to Topia. It was a shoulder-to-shoulder event. Loud music. It wasn't the best place for me to network. I understand some people made some really good connections out there. I had a blast. It was a lot of fun. It brought back a lot of memories of the club scene in New York City. I think they hit it out of the park with the experience of that event. Now, walking out of that event on Thursday night, I may have missed an opportunity, but I don't have any scars, photos, or criminal records from the night. I did wake up in my own hotel room alone, so yeah, let's move on. Now, Friday evening, I went down to LES. I had to take the subway because it was a good clip away. I think it was like a 30-minute subway ride. Probably 35 because I went uptown before I went downtown. But that's what happens when you're new to the city and new to public transit like that. But I did arrive, took a nice walk, got myself to the event, made it downstairs to watch one of the speakers do their speeches. Some musicians doing their thing. Since I already got to hang out with a number of the people that were at LES that evening, and another opportunity came up to go down the street, meet up with some other people I haven't seen yet. We took a 45-block walk over the next 2 hours and made our way up to Times Square to just sit and chill and people watch. Yeah, that's all I'm going to tell you about that. On Saturday for me, I checked out of the hotel, toted my luggage around from Manhattan up into Central Park, got my caricature drawn a couple times. We had a great meal, made it back down to Penn Station, and remember, I took that Amtrack, literally walked onto the train, sat down, and I don't know, 15, 16 hours later, got off the train, I walked 50 feet, put my luggage in the van, and I was done. Okay, so I've taken you on a tour of the floor. I've shared with you my experience in some of the speeches and what it was like to sit in on the lectures. We talked about the networking opportunities that we've had. The shout outs to all the individuals that are amazing people. My take on the after party scene and what was going on there, what I learned from other blockchains and what opportunities are out there. So what are my takeaways? What are my thoughts moving forward? The following is going to be a little hodgepodgey. That's what happens after you sit in on 3 days of lectures and people talking, and it's just full. Like we were delivered quite a bit. Yeah, and to be clear that this is like a big thoughts section, this is a takeaways point. Some of this may already exist, and these are just ideas that I'm having, and I just need introduction to that. So if you know that what I'm talking about already exists, feel free to add it in the comments and make a note for me. I'll definitely follow up with that. This video, I hope that you've enjoyed what I've done so far. I hope that somebody else sees this video and says, man, I could do that better, and then does it better. This hopefully just serves as an inspiration that somebody in the future can do a better job at what I'm doing right now. I may have mentioned this already, but like website builders, the role of website builder in the past was required either from a person in the company in the IT department, or they would sub out from a company to have a website. That's pretty much no code right now. You can go to a website to build a website. What we don't have is a lot of no code tools for Web3 experience. And those of us watching this video, the people that are at NFT.NYC recognize and know the future of NFTs in our space, whether we call them NFTs, digital collectibles, digital assets, whatever the terminology is, similar to the internet in the 90s, certain people know how to do this. And yes, I do agree that no code is going to be important, but we need more people before we need more no code. Can we please stop saying first at or favorite or best or that may be true. You may be the first in some technical aspect or means, or you may be the flat out first and best, period. It doesn't matter. Your business and your product doesn't have to be the first to be the best. It needs to be the best to be the best. Project Catalyst. Can I or can somebody else pay for a trip to these events through Project Catalyst, like the funding, and take a better video? Do this intentionally. Recognize, have better equipment than trying to do videos with a laptop and a hotspot for live streams or for a compilation video like this. I would love to see somebody do something better, and that may come from the seeds of Project Catalyst. All right, this one I'm going to read. For visual on how multi-chain really works, try this. Visualize a geopolitical map. Any blockchain is a major city. So pick your major city, visualize that. That's a blockchain. All the other major cities are different blockchains. Any project on that chain is like a suburb to that city. And the people, you and me, have homes out in the country. Unless you're associated with that project, then you probably have a condo in the... So you get what I'm saying is like that network happens. So this new map that we just created in our heads, and we're looking at it this way, is there's multiple chains, there's multiple projects, there's multiple people everywhere, and typically they're in isolated little city cells. But when a project expands to another chain, they just create a highway between the two cities with off-ramps at their suburb. So yeah, I could see this going into its own video and its own description to understand. Like that's kind of how I visualize and see things, but I'm gonna leave that one there. Now here's an interesting note, and I think I said it a few times to different people, that Cardano in the past 26 months, especially for me, is like ETH in the last 8 years. I got to personally experience all of blockchain growth from a protocol only at the time, 2+ years ago, to seeing NFTs introduced, to seeing FTs introduced, to seeing the smart contracts come online, having multiple P2P trades and escrows and Discord growth, and you have community growth, and you have your blue chips and your no chips, and you now you have smart contracts integrated. Now we're looking at DeFi, and we're looking at all the other things that are coming and happening. Now this isn't to say that Cardano did it faster. It just means that Cardano is caught up now to the Ethereum experience. I wasn't on board in 2015, 16, 17 and beyond. I got in 2021, and my experience in Cardano growing to parallel where everything else is has basically fast-tracked me in my experience, and that's something that I recognize this week as well. Every single person in cryptocurrency has a pre-crypto background. Full-time Web3 people without a tech background actually makes up a majority of the people that are in the space. And especially when we get to that hopeful, desired mass adoption, every single person, though, has a background pre-crypto. So remember, when you're talking to people, you can pretty much omit that. You have it in common, but you can pretty much omit your backstory, because we all have a backstory. What's most important about the people in this space right now is what they are doing, not what they did to get where we're at. That is interesting, I'll give you that, but where we're at right now in this space, let's focus on where we're at and where we're going. We have to understand that a do-it-all person cannot do it all in the Web3 space. It just can't be done. There are some people, but they're few and far between, who probably can manage all things considered. But where we're at now, moving forward, as we bring more people on, it is overwhelming to try and learn how to do everything that you need to do successfully. You just have to recognize that any NFT project is a business. It's not a project. It's not a hobby. It's not a side thing. If you want to be successful with it, you have to run it as a business. Know your roles. Know what you know how to do, because you're going to need a marketer. You're going to need no code or web tech. You will need legal counsel. You will need finance department. You will need a tax person. So many aspects. And yes, you probably can pull it off, but you're going to lose your hair by the end of the day. Recognize that your effort to sell something in the NFT space is multi-layered. It isn't just go mint it and hope that it goes out. You have to market it. So if you're a solo artist and you want to get into the Web3 space, recognize that you're either going to do everything, but every single step that you can trim off and let somebody else do for you saves you time and gets you back to your passion, which is the art. I did notice that NFTs and artists are transcending the label of NFT. Art that is an NFT is greater than an NFT that is art. So there's a difficulty of working with and around 99% anonymous people. I say 99 because I don't think anyone's 100% anonymous. If you're an anonymous person, it's going to be hard for me as a fan to say hello, thank you, appreciate what you do, if we happen to see each other in this space. It creates a barrier. And it's just something to know and understand that if you're anonymous and then you break out and come into a public event like this. All right, one of the quotes from a panel that came up was, "My art and website have a Web 2 and Web 3 component, where people who care not for NFTs can still share in the experience." And he meant they can buy my art. It's a very interesting point of view from an artist who is not all NFTs or all physical. They maintain that bridge. I came in and never had to brand myself, never had to tell anyone who I am, and I'm going to try and sell my art on blockchain, on NFTs, on ADA. Well, I've eliminated 99% of the people that would want to buy my art, including my family or friends or anybody else who genuinely likes my art. And I'm going to force them to get a Cardano wallet and go buy ADA. Now they can have their digital collectible, because no, the job is mine to connect with the Web 2 people and the Web 3 and other chains. So my next step is to actually roll back through my website and add a Web 2 element to it, to allow people to buy prints, or to buy, like, people don't just buy music on CDs, they buy it on vinyl, or they buy it on, what do you kids do now, Spotify? I don't even know if you have to pay for that, but what I'm saying is that if you don't have all those options, your fans will disconnect with you, because you just have to be in all those spaces and make it available for them. This next point kind of matches a few of the other miscellaneous points, and I can see where a video would be built in this on its own. But a successful one-of-one artist is the product. The artist is the product in the one-of-one world. Yeah, you have a piece of art that's hanging on the wall, and that is a byproduct of the artist. To generate interest and generate more community around you, the core is the artist. You are the product, and you need to recognize that and maintain that posture that you're the person that somebody's coming to, and whatever your byproduct is, even authors in that sense, is like if you're marketing yourself and they know that more products like that are coming out from you, those byproducts, that's what builds you and your brand. You must see yourself as a company, as a brand, as a community builder, and sell your art, sell your product as a means to support you so that you, the artist, can continue generating the products that are out there. On a different note, is NFT.NYC conference just like a giant, large-scale crypto AA meeting? There was a lot of self-deprecating jokes about, and like knowing laughter whenever we talked about our losses in the last year. Yes, there's comfort in being in a room with everybody else that's in the same situation, but I feel like it's almost a support group laughter at this point. At the next conference you go to, the next Zoom meeting, the next group that you're in, you need to have your elevator pitch down pat as soon as possible. You're going to have 30 seconds to meet somebody, engage their interest or get their interest. They may be the connection you're looking for, or they're going to know the connection you're looking for. This ecosystem is very small. Don't make them remember every detail about you so that they can help. Just make them remember who you are and what your core principles are, and have that really quick 20 to 30 second who am I message. All right, let's wrap this up. First off, thank you for watching to the end. Thank you for supporting me in my journey over the last 2+ years. I hope that this video puts together enough information for you to experience NFT.NYC as a Cardano perspective or as anybody's perspective. Just share with me in the experience. Hit the like button, comment below what your favorite experience was. I'm sure I'm going to go back. I'll go to other events. This was just a good way for me to catalog all of the thoughts and information, and I recognize how few people were actually there that may want to have experienced what I did. So here you are. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you later.